Graha Mandala apartment is known as one of the most luxurious buildings in the heart of the city. With 15 towering floors, many wealthy individuals and office workers choose to live there due to its security and beautiful night views. However, there is one strange thing that is common knowledge among long-time residents. No one has ever seen the 13th floor. The elevator in Graha Mandala explicitly shows 4 buttons from 1 to 12, then skips directly to 14. When asked, management simply laughs it off, saying, "Oh, it's just superstition." The number 13 is considered unlucky. But some residents swear that sometimes, in the middle of the night, they hear the elevator stop on a floor not listed on the panel. Sometimes, the sound of footsteps echoes in an empty hallway. There are even vague reports of faint screams heard from above. Indra, a freelance journalist who had just moved to the 11th floor, never believed in the supernatural. But from the very first night, he began hearing strange noises. Exactly at the 13 a.m., there was a knocking sound from the ceiling of his apartment. Slow, steady knocks, like a code. He tried to ignore it, thinking it was just pipes or building machinery. But night after night, the sound grew louder, and he began to hear faint whispers calling his name. Curious, Indra began asking the long-time residents. Mrs. Wadi on the 8th floor refused to talk, only urging him to move out as soon as possible. Mr. Johan on the 10th floor stared at him and said, "If you hear sounds from the 13th floor, never answer them." One night, Indra's curiosity piqued. He waited in the elevator until the clock struck 2 a.m. Then, he pressed the 14th floor button and held it longer than usual. Suddenly, the elevator stopped. The digital number above the door changed from 12 to 13. The elevator doors slowly opened, and a cold breeze greeted him. The corridor ahead looked decrepit, as if untouched for years. The lights were dim, some flickering. But most disturbing was the sound a long, agonizing scream coming from the end of the hallway. Indra stepped out, and the elevator door closed behind him. Indra's footsteps echoed down the dark hallway. Each step was accompanied by sobbing, broken cries, as if someone was mourning deeply. The walls on either side were covered in black stains and hand scratches like claw marks. He tried turning on his phone flashlight, but the screen glitched and instantly died. The battery was full, but it shut down. Then he realized all the clocks on that floor had stopped at the 13. A door at the end of the hallway creaked open slightly. The loudest scream came from within. Indra's heart pounded, but his curiosity outweighed his fear. He pushed the door open slowly. The room was like any other apartment unit, but in shambles. The walls were filled with old photographs, all showing one face, a little girl with hollow eyes. Her gaze seemed to follow Indra's every move. Suddenly, the screaming stopped, and he heard small footsteps behind him. He turned around, no one. Suddenly, all the doors along the hallway flung open simultaneously. From each emerged shadowy human figures with indistinct faces, covered in mist. They all stared at Indra. "Why did you come here?" one whispered. Indra ran, but the hallway seemed endless. The elevator was gone. When he returned to the starting point, the elevator door had vanished. Only a wall remained. He screamed for help, but no one heard him. Indra was trapped on the 13th floor for hours or so, he thought. Time didn't move normally there. he decided to return to the unit he first entered. There, he found an old diary beneath a cracked wooden floorboard. The diary belonged to a girl named Leela. According to her notes, Leela had lived in Mandalo with her mother. They stayed on the 13th floor, but one night, a fire broke out. The entire floor burned, and Leela's body was never found. The building management covered up the tragedy. They erased the existence of the 13th floor to avoid scaring new tenants. But Leela's spirit never left. She kept searching for her mother. Suddenly, the diary's writing began to change on its own. Ink flowed like blood. The last sentence read, "I know you're reading this, Indra." The diary burst into flames in his hands, and Leela's scream echoed once more. Indra realized the only way out was to help Leela's spirit find peace. He retraced the hallway and tried speaking to the shadowy figures. They were the victims of the 13th floor, erased from the building's records. They told him the only way to calm Leela's soul was to return her photo to her mother's old apartment on the 6th floor. But there was one catch. The only way out of the 13th floor was through a door guarded by a creature known as the hallway keeper. The keeper appeared over 2 meters tall, eyes glowing red, and skin covered in burn scars. It asked Indra only one question: "Did you come because you believe or because you're curious?" Indra answered, "Now I believe, and I want to help." The creature slowly stepped aside. Indra took Leela's photo and suddenly woke up in front of the 11th floor elevator to 13 a.m. again. Without wasting time, Indra brought the photo to the 6th floor. He found Leela's old unit base on the diary notes. The door was tightly shut, seemingly abandoned. But when he touched the doorknob, it opened by itself. Inside, an old woman sat in a rocking chair. Her eyes were empty, as if she had waited for someone for years. Indra handed her the photo of Leela. The woman wept and said, "My child, you've finally come home." A strong wind blew. The screams from the 13th floor disappeared. The lights throughout the building stabilized. Time resumed ticking. The next day, the 13th floor vanished entirely from the system. Even the building's architect swore they had never built it. Indra moved out a few days later, carrying the story as his next article. But one night, while writing it, precisely at 13 a.m., he heard a knocking sound from the ceiling of his workspace. And a small voice whispered, "Thank you for listening, but you're not done yet." Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and follow other horror stories.